Life.exe, brand new series, not Minecraft. We're playing Session while talking about life. And this is going to be a long series of, each episode is going to be about a different topic, where we dive deep and talk about things in life while grinding our skateboard, dude. Oh, damn. Today we're talking about high school. What is the sort of mindset that you should have in high school? What are some of the goals that you should have during your high school studies to set you up for the rest of your life? Let's get into it. I'm going to start off with my own story during high school. When I was in high school, first of all, I studied in Perth, Western Australia, and I did pretty well in high school. I had the second highest mark in high school. I went on to university and studied in Curtin University. And my goal for the last 2 years of high school was to get into a specific course, called electrical and electronics engineering, as well as computer science. And the reason I wanted to do that course specifically is because I had a fantastic computer science teacher. He knew I was interested in a specific tech, called augmented reality. Won't go into the details. We might make a video in the future talking about like different career path and tech paths and that sort of thing. Might talk about it there more. But anyway, I was interested in this specific tech path called augmented reality, and my computer science teacher essentially said, if you're interested in that, you better learn both the software. You better learn both the software and the hardware, right? And so I should study electrical engineering as well as computer science, which is what I wanted to do, and that was my goal during high school. And yeah, that became my goal. And I studied during high school with that intention, with that goal, in mind. But then towards the end of my high school, the same computer science teacher goes, hey, have you heard of this university called MIT? I'm like, what is MIT? No, I haven't heard about it. Turns out it's the world's top university that teaches computer science at the time. And I was like, of course, there's a #1 university in the world that teaches computer science. That's how rankings work, but I just never considered it because I knew I couldn't afford it. I knew I couldn't afford it, and so I never thought about any other university other than the universities that were local to me in Perth, Western Australia. But that conversation kind of opened my mind, and I was like, yeah, there's universities. Harvard exists, MIT exists, Why am I not considering these as potential? Classic trick, just a simple lolly, you know what I mean? Why am I not considering these universities as potential options for my studies? And I'd made that my goal. Towards the end of the final year of high school, when I was 18 or turning 18, I made it a goal. Oh, this is going to be a sick spot, by the way. I made it my goal to get into MIT. And long story short, I didn't. And primarily because I had very little time to prepare for my application. And so I couldn't get my application reviewed, didn't have anyone look at it. It just wasn't a good application, basically. But now looking back, I managed to get to a fantastic startup. I managed to work at a great startup in the UK that was all about, augmented reality and virtual reality. Did I need to get an MIT? Did my high school studies matter? Is it just university marks? Do university marks matter? And so today we're going to be talking about all of that. Doing well in high school, getting into prestigious universities. Does it matter? Does it not matter? All of that, we'll be talking about it today. Let me just finish this sick trick set. Oh, let's go.
Hello. Assalamualikum. Ahmed.exe. What's Ahmed.exe? I'm building this channel because I grew up watching a lot of YouTube. I watched PewDiePie, CNanners, Tobuscus. Their content is super fun and entertaining, but as we all know, there's a lot of mention of inappropriateness, whether that be the sexuality, the consumption of drugs and alcohol. And as a kid, that didn't really set well with me. I really wished someone was aligned with my values, but still super entertaining to watch, which is why this channel was made. It is a channel for a Muslim audience, meaning there's no inappropriateness. There's going to be mentioned a lot of like comedic Islamic jokes. but at the same time super fun and entertaining to watch for both kids, adults, teenagers. Oh, and there's a bunch of projects happening as well with this channel, building a community around this channel. I'm a game developer. I build video games that take place in real life with a real audience, and I'm super excited to be taking that for the audience of this channel. Also a Discord server for the community of this channel. If that sounds exciting to you, link in the description to join the XP clan and support this channel and be the first to hear about all the developments of this channel and the projects that are happening on the side. Thank you so much, and super excited to see where this goes. Assalamualikum.
Ouch. So during high school, what should really be your goals, right? What are the things that you should be aiming for? Well, you need to first understand... You need to understand what high school really is. What phase of life is high school in, right? And the phase of life that high school is in, I call it the exploration phase. And it's essentially the ages 15 to your late 20s. During that stage, you really don't know what you're doing. You're trialing things out. You don't know what's gonna stick, right? You're throwing a bunch of things on the wall and seeing what's gonna stick. So the ages of 15 to your late 20s, that's your exploration phase. And during that phase, you really have two goals, okay? You have two goals during the exploration phase. And the first of those goals is to land your tricks while skateboarding. No. So during the exploration phase, you have two goals, right? The first of which is to be in the best environments that you can possibly set yourself in. Okay? To be in the best environments that you can possibly be in. And the second goal, this is going to sound weird, is to be brave. So the first goal is to be in the best environments you can possibly be in. And the second goal is to be brave. So why is it important to be in the best environments that you can possibly be in? Well, we've all heard the expressions, you're the sum of your friends, right? The five closest people to in your life pretty much summarize who you are. Ouch. And that's so true, right? And we can even derive inspiration from the seerah itself. If we look at the life of the Prophet ﷺ, that was a good word slide. If we look at the life of the Prophet ﷺ, he dedicated a lot of his time to the general public, but whenever he was hanging out with specific people, he would always be around Umar radiallahu anhu and Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, right? That people would say, like in the seerah, أتى الرسول عليه الصلاة والسلام وعمر وأبو بكر الصديق ذهب الرسول عليه الصلاة والسلام وأبو بكر وعمر. And so he chose really carefully who his best friends were, and he would surround himself with the best people ever after him. And those two best people, became the khulafa after him. And so it's really important to surround yourself with the best people that you have access to. Ouch. And so, well, where are you going to find these best people? They're going to be in the best places to acquire knowledge, to gain wealth. And those places I call mega cities. Okay? I'm sure I've gotten the term from someone else. What mega cities are, they are hubs that attract incredible talent, and at the same time, they're great places for business as well. So what are some examples of mega cities? We're talking about San Francisco, New York, London, Boston, Massachusetts, Dubai. These are places that draw the world's top talent and best business, okay? And the reason you want to go to these megacities is that it will have the world's best talent. So in order to acquire the best friends, the best relationships, the best partners, being in those incredible cities where there's incredible talent will go a massive way. So say that you draw that as a goal for yourself during this exploration phase of high school, of university. How are you going to achieve that, right? How are you going to achieve that? Well, you need to draw up, and everyone's life is different, right? Some of us are already close to these mega cities. Some of us are not. I grew up in Perth, Western Australia. I don't have an American passport. I don't have a UK passport, so I can't be near London or Cambridge or Oxford. And so we each need to sit down and draw up a plan of how we're going to reach these mega cities where there is incredible talent for us to connect with, make friends, and benefit from. Out of high school, the best spot for that incredible talent is university. And if you set your eye on the world's top universities, you will find the world's top talent right there. to make friends, to make possibly life partners, to make also not just friends and partners, but also like loose connections. Loose connections, the power of loose connections is so understated. Like, and this is said in business. In business, people always say that you are who you know, and it's absolutely true. Your loose network, your loose network is so valuable. These are not people that are close enough to be friends, but are close enough for you to benefit from. Top universities are totally accessible to everyone. What do I mean by that? I used to think that only the rich who can afford going to MIT get to go to MIT, or only the rich can go to Harvard or Princeton or Oxford and Cambridge. But the truth is, all of these universities offer incredible scholarships that, given enough time, you can plan for, and it is totally possible to acquire them. And so if you have enough time and you plan accordingly, you can get those scholarships and you have access to those universities. And the final point that I want to mention, talking about the world's top universities and why you want to be part of them, is prestige. This is something that we don't often talk about. Is prestige important? Well, it depends. It depends in what context, right? At work, prestige is not important. What I mean by that is, if you apply to a job, the most important thing is your portfolio. If you can show what things you've done in the past, that's way more valuable than say, hey, I graduated from Harvard, or from MIT, or whatever university you went to that's prestigious. But if you're at a networking event, or at a conference and you want to establish, essentially whenever you need to establish credibility, then prestige is important and is useful, right? And so, yeah, for all these reasons, your immediate next step coming out of high school, and what you should be aiming for, is to be in the best environment that you could possibly be in. And out of high school, that's the world's top universities. And everyone's path, like I said, is different. You know, I'm in a different city to you. I have a different financial situation to you. And so each of us have a different path to follow. So that was the first goal. What about the second goal? We said the second goal is to be brave. What does it mean? What does it mean to be brave? To be brave is to jump across a lake and be able to land your trick shots. It's not very brave. To be brave, what does it mean to be brave? To be brave means to say yes to opportunities, even when you are uncomfortable. If you only take up an opportunity and act on it if you are comfortable, that means you are not brave. Okay? Being brave doesn't mean no fear. It means to act. To act despite your fear, just like I did right now. So say an opportunity comes your way, right? Say you could do a speech in front of a big audience and you can benefit from that speech, but then the internal monologue in your head says, hey, you're gonna fail, you really shouldn't be doing this, you're gonna embarrass yourself. Being brave is acting despite that fear. So even if you go on stage and you're anxious, you're totally fine with that. You're fine with being uncomfortable. That is bravery, okay? And that is your second goal during the exploration phase. It is to act and to experiment and to not let your emotions take over and stop you from experimenting. So given that these are the two goals that we have, which is number one, to be during the exploration phase, right? To be in the world's best environments, and to be brave and experiment. How is high school important, right? How is doing exams, how is that going to serve those two goals? Well, doing exams isn't really a proof of bravery. And then how are doing well on exams, how is that going to set me up to be in the world's best environments? Well, exams are really important for two reasons. The first is, what even are exams? Are exams a proof of your intelligence? They're really not. What exams are is your proof of grit. It is a proof of how hard you're willing to work, essentially. Because you study and you study and you study for years on end just for that final mark that you get at the end of high school. That is what exams are. They're a proof of your grit, your willingness to work hard. That's the first thing. And so they're building your muscle of experimentation. That is a key skill to have during this exploration phase. So it's essentially honing the muscle of exploration and honing the muscle of constantly trying and getting back up. That's the first benefit of exams. The second benefit of exams is that a lot of these prestigious universities and a lot of these top-end places that we want to get into out of high school they require you to do well in school. They expect that you have a high mark coming out of high school. And so it's really important to do well in school to get into those locations. Now, I will say that doing well isn't enough to set you apart though, because everyone applying to these schools and to these universities is going to have done well, right? So it's really important to do things on the side to set you apart from everyone else who's done really, really well, in school. And so, yeah, that's why high school is so important. It's not that recruiters or work in the future is going to check out your transcript and is going to see, hey, did this person do well in high school? Yes, we're going to hire them. The reason why school is so important is because it's a gateway to, number one, the world's best places to be, which out of high school is university, the world's top universities, and they are available. Like, there is scholarships for you to get and for you to be able to get into those universities. And the second reason is that it's a great muscle, a great way to essentially exercise the muscle of grit, to exercise the muscle of trying constantly and working hard before reaping the results in the future. So do well in school so you can set yourself up well for what's to come in life. Hopefully that was useful. We'll see if we're going to continue this series of Life.exe. Maybe we'll change it up. We'll see what we're going to do in the future. But let me know if this was beneficial. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamualaikum.